Aloha and welcome to Dojo and Tea. This is Sifu Bruce Chu signing in, where we talk about martial arts and what's in the future for it. This video cuts directly into Master Chip, who is a master of Tai Chi and Bagua. He explains where his lineage comes from and what he's doing in Hawaii to preserve the art of Tai Chi and Bagua. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Spreading Tai Chi to the rest of China back in the 20s and 30s. Anyway, so I practiced with Dong Ling, and then Dong Ling eventually retired, and he brought his son over, Dong Zheng Chen, brought him over from their family home in Hebei province in China, and that was around 1989. And so I continued my practice with Master Dong Zheng Chen, and in 1990 I became Master Dong's first American disciple. And then I continued my practice to today. So that was about 30 years with Master Dong Zheng Chen now, roughly. Along the way, when I started with T.Y. Pang, he also taught Xingyi and Bagua, and I liked both. And so I continued to practice Bagua. There were some Xingyi teachers here, but I just didn't have the time to do all three, so I chose Tai Chi and Bagua. And I practiced Bagua for a long time. And then about 10 years ago or so, I started practicing Bagua with a woman named Jiang Xu. And then later on, she became a disciple of the master Wang Shanzi, who is in Beijing, Bagua disciple. And then Master Wang and I hooked up, and he spent a lot of time here in Honolulu with me as well. And that was, I guess, about 6 years ago or so. So I've been practicing with him ever since. And he is a family lineage back to the founder of Yin-style Bagua, Yin Fu. It's family and in-laws back to him. And Yin Fu was the top disciple of the only recorded Bagua master of the old days, Dong Hai Chuan. Before that, it's legend, but there is recorded information about Dong Hai Chuan bringing Bagua to Beijing. So that's my background. Both arts. I've been fascinated with the martial arts side of it and the health side of it for most of my life.
Yeah. So basically, it's like kind of a medicine that keeps your body healthy so that you don't get sick, and it's a preventive medicine kind of approach that you're taking with the martial arts, and that's really great because a lot of people need to hear this. There's a lot of people that hear about the benefits of Tai Chi, not so much Bagua, but Bagua is there too. It's also an internal style as well. It's not as famous as Tai Chi, but Bagua is very good for the body and the mind. So it's like a movie meditation almost, and people need to more and more people need to kind of look into this martial art healing method, I think, and the applications of self-defense as well. Have you ever had to use your martial arts for self-defense?
Never in any kind of really serious way. I've had a couple of instances here and there where somebody would sort of come at me in some weird way or something like that, and I would deal with it, but never like an all-out fighter. But it just comes. When you practice that long, it becomes instinctual.
I was just gonna say, it's like muscle memory, yeah. It just happens. It's like riding a bike, Something happens and you just go. You start to pedal and you just go, flow with it.
I'll give you an example of one, which was kind of odd. I was walking down the street, 4th Street, in downtown Honolulu, walking to my job, and I had my briefcase in my hand, and just walking along, and this guy came towards me. He was a little bit odd, and so as he came past me, he reached down to grab my groin, and just as part of my normal stride, I just continued my arm movement and blocked his hand with my wrist and my the wrist that was holding the briefcase, and then I walked on, and he gave me this weird look and continued on his own way.
That is excellent. That is excellent. That's really good. I like that. It was so natural and so on the spot that the guy didn't know what to make of it.
That's right. Yeah. It's
So
kind of funny when these things happen.
so what are you doing? I know you're a teacher now, and you're there to preserve the art. What can you tell me about preserving the art?
Well, I've been very fortunate with both my Taiji and Bagua teachers. They have been direct lineages back to the founders and their styles. And I've learned, on the Taiji side, I've learned the entire system. On the Bagua side, because I started with Master Wong only about 6 years ago, I just haven't had time to learn all of it. The Bagua is huge.
Mm-hmm.
My interest, in just other than the physical and the mental and all of that, is kind of the historical preservation. And so I try as much as possible when I train and when I teach people, to try to do it in a traditional manner. Mm-hmm. And I have videos that go back to 1947.
Wow.
And so I've got pictures of the old guys doing it.
Wow.
And, that's as old as I can get to, but, it gives me some insight into people that really used it for real.
Wow.
And so that's, in my training and my teaching, I try to talk about the applications and just the whole thing from top to bottom.
Wow. That's really awesome. There's some other schools that are kind of not well known as yours. Maybe you could tell me a little bit about your school and how people can get a hold of you.
Oh, sure. Well, the normal way to do it now is to go through the organization that I founded, which was called the Hawaii Wushu Center. Founded it about 25 years ago. So,
wow.
And if you look online, you just go to Hawaii Wushu Center, all one word, HAWAIIWUSHUCENTER.org. And that, if you can do a search on that, you get the website. Through the website, there's a YouTube channel. There's links to, I have my own site, chipellis.com. I also have a YouTube site, Tai Chip, on YouTube. We have the Wushu Center on the Yin Bagua side. We have a website there, yinbaguajang.com, both as a website and also on YouTube. So we have a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of website stuff. A long time ago, I worked in Silicon Valley when sort of the web was getting started. Mm-hmm. And because I was working in that industry, I decided to start a website. So I started chipellis.com. And then it just kind of went on from there.
All right. Okay. Now, how so people can reach you through the site, and they can ask you questions and things like that. I'm pretty sure you're open to that.
Absolutely.
I always ask this for all the teachers that I interview, is if there's a simple technique that you could share for somebody that doesn't have a martial arts background, what would you teach them? Just one technique.
Well, it depends on what the technique is for.
Mm-hmm.
If the technique is for health, then various kinds of standing Qigong meditations are very, very useful. They're very, very boring, but they're surprisingly helpful.
Right.
And since they're standing still, it's not hard to learn it. So the one that Dojo Ling taught me was that you're standing or sitting in a nice upright posture, and you bring your arms around, and you almost touch your index, your middle finger here, almost, not quite touch, and just hold that posture. Mm-hmm. And when I first learned that from Master Dung, I said, well, okay, great. How long should I hold it? Should I think about the energy, et cetera, et cetera? And he said, don't worry about the energy. Just hold it. Try to hold it for 15 minutes at a time without moving.
Wow.
And if you do that, after about 3 years, you'll get pretty good.
That's great. That's great. How about for self-defense? If somebody had to use Tai Chi or something that, like a Bagua motion or movement,
sure,
what would you share?
In Tai Chi, the principle of Tai Chi is that you bring something in that's coming at you. If something's coming at you, you go with the flow, you bring it in the way it's going, you redirect it, and then you send it out.
Okay.
I mean, it just depends on how it comes in.
Hmm.
But if something came in, maybe somebody's throwing a punch, from right to left, so that would come this way, right? Then you would just sort of bring it in and, send it out.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I mean, it just depends on how it comes in. But
Mm.
the principle there is go with the flow.
Mhm.
Don't fight it. Um, feel what's coming in,
Mhm.
and then try to turn it, try to manipulate it, and
Okay.
redirect it somewhere else. It doesn't have to be back to the person. That's fine if you can do that. But if you're talking to somebody who's a complete novice, it's kind of, you think about it like a dog or something like that, right?
Okay.
In Bagua, when I was first met Master Wong and we were discussing the differences between Taiji and Bagua, I thought he had a very interesting perspective on that. He said, in Taiji, it's typically 1-2. You bring it in, you turn it around, and you send it out. In Bagua, it's 1.
Wow.
It's not 1-2, it's 1. And that move that he used, which is a wonderful move, again, let's visualize that a right-handed punch is coming into the left side of my face. In slow motion, what you do is you bring your hands up and you're blocking the punch coming in with your left hand. So you're blocking it from the outside to the inside. In the meantime, your backhand is coming around. After you finish the block, you come out and you hit him in the face.
Wow.
And so the move looks like that.
Okay.
And it's 1. It's not block hit. It's
Wow.
block hit at the same time.
Okay.
And there's a whole bunch of other Bagua moves that are similar in that
Mhm.
perspective.
Mhm.
You do a combination. You do a defense and an offense at the same time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's
For
really
a
good.
beginner, as you and I have touched base a little bit there, it's really easy to talk about these moves,
Mhm.
but to internalize them and actually
Mhm.
be able to do them and actually be able to use them is not at all easy.
Mhm.
So, my favorite move is run away.
Mhm.
And my second favorite move is give them your wallet.
Well, I'm guessing that you only use a self defense if you really have to protect yourself or another person, and
That's true.
if you
Yeah.
can't run away, like you have a baby in your arms or you have family
Yep.
around you, you have to
That's right.
stand your ground. But
Yeah.
uh, how can people get a hold of you? Do you have online classes as far as so?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. When the pandemic happened, we of course had classes in person, but they shut everything down.
Ah.
And so we bought a YouTube license, and that's what we're on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Got the appropriate equipment, and then we now have classes online. We have classes on Wednesday night is Taiji at 6:00 and on, and on Thursday night is Bagua.
Mm-hmm.
And then also we have another class that was on Zoom on Sunday afternoons, and we have just now started to try to do social distancing and just have a couple of students in person. But if there was enough demand, that we'd turn the Zoom back on for Sundays. But right now, Zoom is on Wednesday, Taiji, and Thursday for Bagua.
Oh, thank you so much. You're a great guy, and I thank you for being on the Dojo and Tea show. And we'll put it online on YouTube. So I'll go ahead and edit it, and I'll let you know when it's online, so you can take a look at it.
Oh, great! Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me. I've enjoyed our conversation.